Welcome everyone to Speech Banquet 1988, a celebration of chivalry. You know, Arlene, when I think of chivalry, I think of gentlemen offering their arm to a lady, or opening a door for them, or even laying down their coat over a puddle of water.
Well, Nick, I'm not so sure that that would work, because with the rains we have in East Texas, a coat over one of our puddles wouldn't do a whole lot.
Well, that's true, but you know those satellite dishes on campus that people have as umbrellas? At least if your feet are wet, the rest of you is totally dry.
But then you have those dates with the small umbrella, and you get the old trickle down the back of your neck effect. Well, one of those times, you kind of want to move in closer to stay dry, but then again, you don't want to give them any ideas.
Well, that's true. Actually, chivalry was the knighthood's code of conduct. It regulated their behavior when they were fighting skillfully in war, when they kept their promises, when they looked after the ladies in their lives, and also when they defended the church and society. They definitely were respected when they were chivalrous. Chivalry was one of the few positive lights that has come out of that era.
You know, I don't know about you, but when I think of the Middle Ages, I picture tall knights on horseback, brave and strong.
Well, they might have been brave and strong, but they definitely weren't tall, Arlene. Remember when we were in Europe? Those outfits that we saw, rather short, weren't they, in those castles?
They were, that's right. I remember now they were very short, because they were so short. I think they were shorter than I was. I remember comparing myself to them, and they were really, actually, Nick, you would have fit into them.
Let's stick to the script, Arlene.
Anyway, with his speech entitled, The Never Noticed All-Star, please join me in welcoming a sophomore from Cherry Valley, Arkansas, Mr. Paul Forster.
Thank you, Nick. Good evening, everyone. The count was full. 3 balls and 2 strikes on the batter. The bases were loaded. It was the 6th and final inning of the regular Little League baseball season. I was the pitcher. Wade Thompson was the batter. Now, Wade Thompson was no ordinary 12-year-old. Wade Thompson stood 6'4". He weighed 249 pounds. Wade Thompson could hit like no one in baseball. I stepped back. I looked over at my first baseman, Charlie Wood. I looked at my small second baseman, Brad Campbell, and over to my even shorter shortstop, Smiley. And finally, over to third base, to Hootie Hoot Taylor. Who's standing there? Oh, better, swing, better, swing, better. As he taunted the batters. The batters hated Hoot Taylor. When people got on third base, Hoot called them names. Hoot called everybody names. Nobody liked Hoot Taylor. But Hoot was our third baseman. And we only had 9 players, so Hoot had to play. And there he stands. Batter, swing, batter. As he always did. I looked from Hoot to our hind catcher, my brother Matt. Matt gives me the signal. 2! And I said, no, not 2! 2 was the signal for the hard fastball down the middle. If I threw a hard fastball down the middle to Wade Thompson, he was going to knock that ball into next week. And the bases were loaded. And we were ahead by only 1 run. I could not throw a hard fastball to Wade Thompson. But neither could I walk Wade Thompson, because the tying run would cross the plate, and we would not win our last game. My brother gives me the signal again. 2! 2! I step back into my windup. The pitch. Crack! He hits it deep toward right field. It's going back. Back. Now let me take you back to the beginning of the baseball season. The first day of practice. The coach is calling out the players' names. Hoot Taylor, Charlie Wood, and so on as he called out the players. And finally he says, our 9th and last player, Charles Cameron. No! Not Charles Cameron! Charles Cameron can't play baseball. Charles Cameron can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I did not want Charles on our team. But Charles it was. We talked to the coach. We tried to get him to let our little 8-year-old bat boy play. But nothing doing. Charles had to play baseball. And play Charles did. Charles wasn't a very good player, but he came to every practice. He gave 100% every time. And over the period of that year, I grew to respect Charles, because he always tried. He never complained. We're running laps after practice. Hoot Taylor jogged along. Don't know why I gotta do all these laps. Everybody knows I'm the best player on this team. But not Charles. Charles just ran his laps, just like everyone else, without a word of complaint. Now Charles, throughout all the season, did not catch a baseball. He never caught the ball. But he always tried, and he always gave 100%. He came to every practice and every game, and he always gave his very, very best. And so here we are in the last game. The pitch, the hit, it's going deep towards right field. I could not bear to watch. I turned toward Hoot Taylor, because I knew that if that ball did not go over the fence, that Charles Cameron wasn't going to catch that ball. Charles played right field, and Charles had not caught a ball all year long. He was not going to catch that ball. So I'm facing Hoot Taylor. Hoot rips off his glove. He throws it to the ground. He rips off his hat. He throws it to the ground. He kicks him, and then he jumps in the air. And he jumps in the air. And he goes, he caught it! He caught it! He caught it? He caught it! Charles caught the ball! We all rushed out to right field. And Charles is standing there. And he looks up. And he goes, I caught the ball. And I look at Charles and I say, Charles, you caught the ball! And Charles says, I caught the ball. And we all rushed off to the concession stand for our free hot dog and Coke. Now this was the last game, and we had won it. And they picked the All-Stars after the last game to represent our town, Parkin, Arkansas, in the Northeast Arkansas Little League District Tournament. They called out the players' names. Playing third base, Hootie Hoot Taylor. Hoot jumps up. I always knew I was the best player on this team. And he trots onto the field. Matt Forrester, hind catcher. Paul Forrester, pitcher. And so on as they called out the other players. We jogged out onto the field and stood there. But they didn't call Charles Cameron's name. Through 4 years of watching Charles Cameron play baseball, they never called Charles's name to be an all-star. But as I stood there that night beside my brother on the field, I looked into those stands, and I saw Charles standing there with a big smile on his face. And I saw his mother standing beside him with her arm around him. And I noticed a never-noticed all-star.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson, and it's certainly good to be here with you. I think that Mr. Thompson did a marvelous job this evening. Perhaps many of you weren't watching the time as I was, but Mr. Thompson started all of these presentations exactly 49 minutes late. I mean, exactly 49 minutes late, and which is not his fault, of course, but the whole situation. And he sure got through them in time, and it looks like we're going to be able to end virtually on time if I will now shut up. But we can call him Speedy Thompson from now on, because he had them all rather than one by one, but get up here real quick, so works it out so we can get into the dancing about on time. But it was a very fine evening, and thank again all of you who participated, the speakers and all of you students who helped with the setup, and certainly we do appreciate the help of the kitchen and all the other crews that took part. It is really just as fine here and as it is in Pasadena at these occasions, if not finer. And Dr. and Mrs. Germano, I'm sure, would be glad if I would mention that they said they had never seen a buffet this nice before, and they've been to a number of them in Pasadena and, of course, in other institutions. So it is a very fine honor that we have to have the setup that we have and the beautiful situation here for these banquets, as well as the love and the warmth that we do have, which was spoken of in the speeches. At this time,